I have in my mind is Biggie.
All right, welcome to the show. It's Ringside Report. I'm Dave Simon. Fred Garcia's here. AJ DeLesio is here.
Hollywood.
We're live on YouTube every Thursday night at 8 p.m. We're on TSN 690 Radio every Friday at 7. And we're online at ringsidereport.net. Go there. Go to the website. Also, like the video when you go to the website. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave a comment. Click the bell when you subscribe so you get notifications every time we're on. We're on a lot on the YouTube channel. I was on this past Sunday with my main man, Johnny North. We were talking Royal Rumble. We watched the Rumble live on a Rumble watch-along. You could watch that right now on the website, ringsidereport.net. A lot of people watch that Rumble watch-along.
I was watching.
Yeah, it did well. A lot of people are enjoying the watch-alongs. We had our UFC Conor McGregor watch-along a couple of weeks ago, and we've got another one coming up next Saturday night, February 8th, UFC 247, the return of John A. Bones Jones. And AJ and I have a big bet, so we're going to be watching that fight together, AJ, and we will see the results of our bet. We have a dozen bagels on the line. I've got the champ, Bones Jones, but of course, and AJ, the Jones hater, going with his opponent, Dominic Reyes, next Saturday night. We're not too far away now, just over a week away from John A. Bones Jones back in the UFC. We get Conor last month, Bones Jones this month, or February. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it should be fun. But for the bagels, I was going to say, how about somebody just buys them and we decide at the end of the event who pays for them?
But they're going to be stale and all that.
Yeah, well, we'll never see them, if anything.
No. I'm good on my word there.
That's a good point, because the last time we made one of these bagel bets, you didn't give me the bagels for a long time, AJ.
Listen, you wanted to go double or nothing. I won. That's the way it is.
Yeah, after 2 months when the bagels weren't coming, I was like, all right, let's go double or nothing on this fight, and then I lost, and then nobody got bagels at all. So I think Fred's idea is good. Somebody buys a dozen bagels. At the end of the night, either I take them or you take them.
Yeah, but who's going to buy the bagels to spring it up?
You
it
do.
Doesn't count,
You
man.
do. You owe it.
We got to go old school. Listen, first of all, I wanted to say, you said watch along. I say it's a date night because a lot of times people don't have anybody to watch the fights, and I call it the date night because there's too many people calling it the watch along.
I mean, you already have a family,
I know, man, but it's date night with the boys.
Yeah, but it seems a little weird if you're calling it a date night because it's you, me, and my brother.
Yeah, but and the rest of the world who's watching,
it's
right?
kind of a weird. I guess it's a date night for the Ringside Report universe, but for us, it doesn't really feel like a date night.
Well, I'll bring the wine and somebody will...
I like watch along. Watch along's good for me. It works for me. It makes sense to me.
And first of all, let me say, I'm not a John Jones hater, by the way.
Oh, no.
Hashtag
picograms.
Picograms.
You're going to say picograms
Listen, man, don't
again?
get mad at me if that's real. That's not my fault. I'm not the one who did all that.
You are the one who
picogram
constantly
stuff.
brings it up, and you don't even know what picograms are. At this point, you're not even sure what a picogram is anymore.
Wait, what is a picogram?
Kind of like a pixel or something like that, no?
Well, it's a unit of measurement.
See,
No. Okay, hold
Fred
on.
had to tell you, AJ, because you don't know what a picogram is.
Listen, I'm not any scientist. All I know is that there was substance in his body that was like a drop in a pool, but it's still illegal, man. He was cheating. Picogram, hashtag it.
That doesn't make sense. So there was a substance in his body. What unit of measurement could you use to quantify that substance that was in his body?
I just said it, like a drop in a pool.
They were picograms, AJ.
Drop.
They were picograms, which is not a gram. It's like a small trace amount. He had picograms of a prohibited substance.
And none of us remember what the substance is,
AJ,
including you, AJ.
All we remember...
I remember it begins with a T or something.
No,
I can't remember.
you don't know. All we
TRT?
remember
What was
is picograms because it's the first time we ever heard the word in our lives, and we're like, picograms.
Thanks
and
to
now
John
you,
Jones.
AJ,
He's enlightened
think
us.
that John Jones was on some drug called picograms.
Hey, listen, man, don't get at me.
Which is not a thing that exists.
Listen, USADA is the one.
It's a unit of measurement. It's not a drug, dude. You're
I know,
confused
dude.
as all hell.
But right now, the world knows that substance as picogram.
No,
So
you
the
know that
thing-
substance is picograms.
Listen, man.
Hashtag John Jones hater.
Yeah.
Let's just
I'm
simplify it
not a
to
John
that.
Jones hater. I'm a Daniel Cormier lover. That's the difference. And I'm going to tell you,
Hashtag date night.
date night with Daniel Cormier. We'll get into that later because I have a comment on Daniel.
AJ's fantasies.
No, but listen to this. Listen to this. If he's going to be clean coming up next week without any picograms or pacograms or whatever, Pac-Mans, how do you know he's going to be clean?
Pac-Man grams.
He's been clean.
Yeah, let's see after the fight if he's going to be clean. That's the problem with John Jones.
He was clean after the last fight.
Yeah, you're right. I'll give you the.
Yeah,
that's
and he'll
right.
be clean after this next fight that
Listen,
he wins
man,
again.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. But what I'm saying is this: John Jones.
How about you tell us how Reyes is gonna win? Because I'm sorry, I barely know the guy. I've seen, I would need to see his record right now because I don't even remember most of his track record.
The only thing that I know about Dominic Reyes is that he looks like a giant Carlos Condit.
He does actually. You got a good point.
He doesn't really fight like Carlos Condit. He just kind of looks like him, like a big version. Whatever happened to Carlos Condit? That guy was awesome.
Isn't he supposed to be fighting again? I remember hearing his name coming up, like he has to fight again.
Yeah, man.
He's not. He's still on the roster.
He retired for a while and then he came back. So tell us, why is Dominic Reyes going to beat John Jones next week, AJ? How's he going to do it? Is he going to knock him out? Is he going to beat him by decision? Is he going to tap him with a knee bar? How do you think it's going to happen, AJ? Because you're convinced. You're so convinced that you made a bet with me. And you're saying that it's not because you hate John Jones. It's totally because you believe in Dominic Reyes, even though I feel like the past several opponents for John Jones, you've picked against him. You just like picking against John Jones for some reason, even though he never loses. He's the greatest fighter ever. You pick against the worst guy to pick against. There couldn't be a worse guy. It's like John Jones or Khabib. If you're betting against those guys, it's not really a smart move. By the way, Khabib is going to lose to Tony Ferguson in April.
See, there you go. And then you get on me with the John Jones thing.
I'm just
That's
saying.
not happening. Khabib is going to win that fight, in my opinion. But let me get back to what you were saying with the John Jones. Look, for sure, John Jones is on a 16-win fight streak. He's defended his belt 10 times. He's probably the best martial artist that ever was and probably still is. Creative. He has a longer reach. He has great
why
grappling.
you always pick against him?
I'm not picking against him. Listen, the last fight it was by the split. So the thing is this: is that my only thing that I'm seeing with John Jones and his only Achilles heel would be this: is that every time he fights, he's fighting young, hungry guys that are coming to give damage at the full extent. He's not fighting like in the heavyweight where there's a lot of cruisers coming and going and coming back.
Cruisers.
Cruisers coming and going and coming and going.
I've never heard that term described for fighters.
It's an old term, man. It's an 80s term.
All right.
So the thing is this. My only beef, I think, is that Jones is going to be fighting a young and heavy hitter like Reyes. Reyes is young.
So it's
he's
hope.
Heavy.
You're basically coming with hope.
No, I'm not going with hope. I'm going with wear and tear on John Jones. There's a lot of wear and tear on it.
John Jones has been fighting the very best in the world for a very long time, and Dominic Reyes has not. John Jones is actually fighting a guy who's younger than him. For most of his career, he was fighting guys that were older than him, and this is a rare time in his career where he's fighting a guy who's he's 30 years of age, and Jones is 32 right now. So Jones getting a little bit older, but still very young, right? And
time flies, though, because I remember when he was 23 when he became champion. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Oh, I remember seeing him win that title in 2011. I went to New Jersey because I knew something was happening. There was history about to be made, and I went to see John Jones beat Shogun there back in 2011. So it's been a long time that John Jones has been champion. He's a great champion, and
well,
I don't see this wear and tear because when I see him fight, I see him dominate his opponent. He beat Thiago Santos in his last fight. It was a split decision.
By split.
One judge saw it the other way, but I don't see what that judge was seeing.
I saw it as a split.
I thought John Jones won that fight. You can't see a fight as a split decision.
Fred, what did you thought?
You can't.
I thought Santos won it in one round.
You thought Santos won the fight?
I know what you're saying.
As an individual, cannot call a fight as a split decision.
No, I
understand what a split decision is.
Let me correct myself. I saw the fight that Jones wanted, but Santos won one round. That was my thing. I called the second round, if I'm not mistaken, that he wanted. It wasn't a split.
It
was a round win.
Just
like Conor won the round against Khabib.
So, it was a 5-rounder.
So you're saying that Thiago Santos won a round against John Jones.
Yeah.
So what?
No, but
So
what I'm saying
what?
is it's still a win. And the thing is
It's
that
a win of a round.
But listen, a judge called it a split. So the thing is that no, I agree that
but-
Jones won that fight.
Yeah.
But again, he's coming up against another hungry lion, and I know what you're gonna say is that they're gonna come and he's gonna knock him out.
Hungry Lion. That's like that's basically hope, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Not
Hungry,
hope, man.
Hungry
Listen.
Lion is a synonym
Listen.
of hope.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this: who knocked out Chris Weidman?
Yeah, no,
Dominic
look,
Reyes
okay,
in the
please,
first round.
Give me a minute.
He
here.
knocked out
Give me a
Chris
minute, my
Weidman
friend.
that destroyed Anderson Silva's career. Let's not forget.
Oh, no. Let's hold up on that for a
But-
second. Dominic Reyes beat Chris Weidman, who had just lost by knockout a year prior, who hadn't fought in a year, and his last fight was a knockout loss to Jacare. Before that, he beat Kelvin Gastelum, but before that, he got knocked out by Gegard Mousasi, Yoel Romero, and Luke Rockhold in 3 straight fights. So to tell me that Dominic Reyes was the guy that knocked off the Chris Weidman that beat Anderson Silva is ridiculous. That's revisionist
Hey,
history.
listen, man.
It's not true at
He
all.
had a year
Chris
to-
Weidman
No,
was
no,
done
no.
when
Yes.
Dominic Reyes beat him. You want to talk about
And if
talk
anything-
about Dominic Reyes fighting a legit guy? He fought Volkan Ozdemir before Chris Weidman.
That's
You know-
legit.
and you know what happened? He won by split decision against Volkan Ozdemir. Do you remember what Daniel Cormier did to Volkan Ozdemir? Could you imagine what John Jones would do to Volkan Ozdemir? Jones is going to smash Dominic Reyes next week.
Exactly. I feel like we're spending way too much time thinking of Dominic Reyes. We try to give you the spy here, but I'm sorry. Look, you could pick Reyes if you want, but me and Dave are going to think you're wrong. I think where you're going to, the example to go with is John Jones. He's like when Ronda Rousey was at its best, Anderson Silva was at its best. It's going to be a surprise whenever he loses. Like, I'm not taking anybody against John Jones right now. And whenever John Jones loses, I'm going to be surprised. I mean, that's just the way it is for
somebody's
John
going to have to
Jones.
lose. Somebody's going to have. They
Not
both
for
have
right now.
0
He's
losses
gonna
here.
win.
Someone's going to have a
Yeah,
one.
Dominic Reyes is going to lose.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, and that's totally fair. Like I said, he's coming up against
All right.
a young, hungry guy, and he's gonna have to fight it through, just like he did with Santos. And if
Young
Santos,
and hungry is
listen,
not a fight tactic.
Listen, and Santos was fighting with one leg, and let's not forget that he was still able to finish a fight with one leg. He won probably 1 or 2 rounds. And the thing is this. Is if Santos was completely healthy, what would have been the outcome? And Santos is going to come back.
Lost. He still would have lost.
You know what? Other people beg differently.
I
So
got
I'm
a
gonna tell you,
PSA
listen,
here. PSA.
Coulda, woulda,
Never hire Anthony as a judge.
Yeah.
Why? What do you think I am? I'm not like what's her name, Amanda.
Because you're
Bird?
not partial.
I'm totally partial because
you're
the
not.
thing is that you're entitled to your opinion.
Adelaide Delesio over here.
Yeah, Adelaide Bird. That's it.
AJ Bird over
listen,
here.
Hey, listen, man. Don't be a hater. What I'm saying is this: we'll see what happens
Take
in
your
the
own
first.
advice.
Listen, in the first couple of rounds.
oh, my God.
If Jones is able, first of all, Reyes has a devastating kick. And if he gets into the clinch, I know Jones is going to go into the clinch game.
All right, dude, that's
we'll see
fine.
what happens.
All right,
That's
let's
fine.
continue the discussion when he wins.
Yeah, we'll
There's
see.
a dozen bagels on the line.
We'll see. I'm already seeing comments here. We're getting messages here. Our man Alex is like fully on your side. He's like,
What?
Stop
Alex?
yelling at AJ. AJ's always right. So we're getting some messages here coming in.
Thanks,
during the
Alex.
show
I love
here.
you, buddy.
People are on AJ's side, but you know the majority of the world is on our side, the side of reason, the side of logic, which is not
Except
the
Daniel
side.
Cormier.
No,
He's on my side.
No, Daniel Cormier
What'd he
also
say?
thinks John Jones is going to win. He says it's going to take a heavyweight to beat John Jones. He doesn't think Dominic Reyes is going to win. So even Daniel Cormier doesn't agree with you, AJ, and the odds makers don't either.
And
because
you don't
Dominic
understand how odds
Dominic
work.
Reyes is a massive underdog. Plus
For sure.
325. John Jones minus 420, the favorite. 420, very apropos for our main man, John
Yeah,
Jones.
but they're both at the same height. They're both 6'4". They're close to weight. They're 203, 205. They're both at the same level of height and weight. Skill-wise, I'll give the experience of Jones.
One is the greatest
And
MMA
one is
fighter
coming to
living,
take out the greatest.
and one is another guy.
I'm telling you, hunger is going to be the difference in this fight. I believe it.
Well, I can't wait. It's going to be next week, UFC 247. We're going to do a live watch-along so you could watch AJ and myself watch this fight.
Me eating bagels right as it's happening.
You eating crow, AJ, because you will be eating your words as John Jones puts a smackdown all over your boy, Dominic Reyes. That one going down next week. And I'm pretty hyped about it. I'm
I am. And it's a pretty
Do you
decent
guys think
card.
the number will go down? Like right now, Jones is a favorite minus 420. Next week when we're previewing this fight, will he be a heavier favorite, a smaller favorite, or will it be the same?
Well, to me, this is like if
Will more money come down on Jones or Reyes in the next week, you think?
I would think Jones right now is just going to be even more of a favorite. To me, this would be a level of when Holly Holm defeated Ronda Rousey surprise. Like, I don't expect Reyes to win at all. I don't give him a shot. But look, there's a 1 out of 3 here that thinks so.
Yeah, one guy here thinks that Reyes is going to win. Reyes is undefeated. 7 of his 12 wins by knockout. But John Jones is John Jones. So we'll see next week what happens there. All right, guys, I want to get into some other stuff here. We've got Kamaru Usman making a lot of news this week. He got into a fight with Jorge Masvidal at a Super Bowl thing. And Usman also was on Joe Rogan, and he did a really good interview. It was interesting stuff, talking about fighting George St-Pierre. And I wanted to talk about that and what Usman said about GSP. But before that, speaking of Joe Rogan, we got to talk about, I think, the biggest fight that people are talking about in MMA this week, because there's no UFC this weekend, and it's the Super Bowl, and everybody's looking at these kind of stick and ball sports right now because we're on a break from the UFC. And this stick and ball man, Stephen A. Smith, he dipped his nose into the MMA world and said some things about Cowboy Cerrone after the Conor McGregor fight. He said Cerrone, he just quit in there, and he just kind of gave up, and he didn't come to fight, and he had some very disparaging remarks about Donald Cerrone. Joe Rogan answered back and told Stephen A. Smith to basically stay in his lane, that he really didn't know what he was talking about, that MMA is probably not, where he needs to be, and he really shouldn't be talking. Stephen A. Smith responded, said Joe Rogan was wrong. He did this whole thing on Twitter, this whole video. He's like, "You're wrong, Joe Rogan. You don't know what I'm saying. You don't understand." And I'm like, all right, dude. Joe Rogan is a black belt in multiple martial arts, and you're Stephen A. Smith, a washed-up college basketball player.
But you're a journalist.
ESPN, talking head. You talk about all the sports. You really don't know anything about MMA.
So it's like kind of a couch coach.
Add to the fact that this Stephen A. Smith video was out on the internet of him throwing the worst, ugliest punches you have ever seen in your life. This guy made Shane McMahon look like Floyd Mayweather. I mean, it was just ridiculous. So ugly. He made Tank Abbott look like Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali. It was just ludicrous stuff from Stephen A. Smith. And he's got the gall to come out and talk about fighting and say Donald Cerrone quit.
Unmitigated gall.
Is that what he says?
Yeah.
And then I did some research into Stephen A. Smith because I knew we were going to talk about him. And I don't really know this guy because I don't really watch him. I don't care for him. I don't find him entertaining. And I don't watch the sports.
He's the greatest.
Yeah, Fred, you like him.
Yeah,
you're more into
most of the U.S. likes Stephen Smith.
I don't watch stick and ball sports. I don't care how many
You're like
points.
putting
That's
your
the
nose
thing.
on the
He's
balls.
not about sports. He's about entertainment. He's his own brand of
Yeah, but
entertainment.
he's kind of like a loud, drunk guy in a bar that's just like.
No, he's not.
blasting
He's
out.
not kind of that. He is that.
He is that, and that's the problem. So you have and I agree with
Yeah, but he doesn't really seem to have a lot of substance behind it. It's a lot of
Well,
flash.
he says that he's
Completely agree.
No, but he's been
Like,
watching
most
box-
of TV these days. That
Yeah,
doesn't
but-
have much
But Dave,
substance.
Yeah.
but guys,
He's a
been-
character. I mean, people don't need to take him that seriously. That would be my point. Look, in the end, that's who he is. He's kind of whatever bad word you wouldn't put in.
Like-
Stephen A. Smith is kind of a.
He's kind of like a chill Sonnen.
He's like a court
with no
jester.
experience.
He's a personality. He's kind of
I
a
was gonna
clown.
say he's a Richard, but the smaller version. But
okay.
anyways.
But look,
That's who he is.
But he knows his boxing game. Like he.
Look,
Does he?
Well, to some extent, he knew. He's
It's-
following
no, he
boxing.
doesn't.
It
He's
seems
been
like
following
he
boxing
doesn't.
since he was a kid.
Max Kellerman
He knows the
understands
game.
boxing.
Look, he knows the game of boxing. He knows the game of other sports.
Right.
But in MMA, I absolutely agree with you. He's in there for his first fight with Joe Rogan, and he said things that were really not cool to MMA and to
to
MMA
Donald-
fans or
Donald
athletes.
Cerrone as
To
well.
Cowboy
It's
Cerrone,
not
who's
to
one of the
MMA.
hardest.
What did he say wrong about MMA? He
He
said
says he basically gave the fight, Dave. Fred.
He said
That's-
about Donald Cerrone that he gave up. Okay,
No, but he gave
so
the
that's an
fight.
attack to Donald Cerrone. It's not an attack on MMA. Come on,
it
don't
is.
be that
No, it's not.
dramatic.
Listen, man,
No, it's
because
not.
when you're taking Cowboy Cerrone, he's one of the hardest working guys in the sport.
Yeah.
So everybody
As
in MMA has to
Okay.
back behind Donald Cerrone and say you were wrong, Stephen A.
Actually, they did. They did.
Well,
a lot of them
look,
did come out and
most people in MMA.
I say let's relax.
Okay, I'm kind of seeing this from a little bit of an outside perspective because I'm not familiar with Stephen A. Smith. Like, I don't really know who he is. I've seen him around. I've seen kind of clips of him. I remember a few months ago when there was this clip of him on the internet talking about. It was really funny because he was like talking about some football player that was really going to make the difference in this game. He was like, this guy is going to make the difference. He's like the man, and he's really important. And then it was like, that guy's been injured all season, man. He's not even playing in the game. It's like, and it was clear that the guy didn't know what he was talking about, and he was just, trying and talking out of thin air. He really had nothing there. He has no substance, and that was the impression I got. So I just see little clips here and there. Like, I know the name, and I've seen the guy. I could recognize his face, but I don't really know. But then when I see him throw those punches that are so ugly, and then he's talking about Donald Cerrone quitting in there, and he's trying to come off like he has some sort of authority on MMA, and he's trying to tell Joe Rogan, who is an authority on MMA, you could agree with him or disagree with him, on a lot of different things, but he understands MMA, he understands the UFC, and he's a martial artist. So for Stephen A. Smith to come out and argue with Joe Rogan and to start making these points that are just completely outlandish, I, as an MMA person, am a little bit offended because I see him and I'm like, dude, who are you? I understand you're making millions of dollars and you're this personality, but right now you're stepping into our world and you need to chill out with that.
Why?
And I heard Joe
Why?
Rogan say, well, I'll tell you why. Because I heard Joe Rogan talking about this, and he's like, could you imagine if he said something about, could you imagine if he said that about Nate Diaz and then Nate Diaz saw him?
it would be.
You know
a bad
what would
day.
happen to Stephen A. Smith?
Well, it'd be the same thing with Masvidal.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
he said that to
it's a
Masvidal.
different thing when you're being disrespectful to football players or basketball players or whatever, guys who are also multimillionaires. You're kind of punching up, right? It's different between punching
There's a
up-
difference
No,
between
no.
getting into somebody's face and telling him that and having an opinion on TV. Look,
that's not an
it
opinion.
wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't the best opinion. I completely agree
Terrible
with
opinion.
A terrible opinion. But now let's look at the other side of this. Okay, Stephen A. Smith is the biggest personality on ESPN. He wins $8 million for a year for a reason. Okay, because he's the
For his
biggest.
big mouth.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what people tune in for. People love the
Sure.
debate.
But
People
when a guy
love
like
the.
that. When a guy like that who's making $8 million a year is talking about a man who's making maybe 500,000.
Look, it comes with the overexposure of the
or
sport.
maybe $1 million for the fight. When you're talking about MMA fighters who are going out there and putting their lives on the line in a cage fight, you're not putting your life on the line in a basketball game. Okay,
Here,
you
Dave.
put your life on the line in a cage fight, and you're not making what the basketball players are making, or the football players, or the baseball players. So when Stephen A. Smith wants to make fun of a multi-million dollar basketball player, that's one thing. But when you're richer than these guys and you want to talk down to these people and say that you know this and you know that, no. Shut your mouth, Stephen A. Smith. Nick Diaz should step to you and regulate you.
Well,
all right?
actually, Nate Diaz agrees with him.
What?
Well, Nate Diaz
Yeah,
has a lot.
no, Nate
whatever.
Diaz took
That's fine.
took
But
Stephen A.
for
Smith's
now-
side because
for now.
No, because he had the same opinion as Stephen A. On the fight. Look, man, people are gonna have opinions, man.
Yeah,
you
but
gotta.
Diaz is going to make those comments just to cause controversy. And maybe
As
that's
the
what Smith
sport
is
grows-
here for. He's maybe here to cause controversy. But the truth of the matter
And
is, I'd
controversy
rather be
sells.
listening to Rogan and having maybe a Cormier next to him where I can get like a real MMA analytical opinion and breakdown from guys who know the sport. And you know what?
But
That's
you know
what I want to
what?
see.
But,
wanna
wait,
see
I got
Cormier
an
there.
actual question. Did you actually watch it, or you saw
No, I
the clip
watched it.
after?
I watched it.
You watched it live.
And I saw the clip. and I saw-
Where did you watch it live? You were here.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw. I didn't like once the
watching
fight. Let me talk, please. once the fight finishes, I go to bed. Like, if you don't want to tune in into Stephen A. Smith, just tune in off, man. I mean, the numbers are gonna do the job. If nobody listens, nobody's gonna. He won't be on TV. Like, let's stop with this
Rogan,
outrage thing.
Did he say this stuff after the fight? I don't even know.
No,
Yeah, it wasn't the post-fight. That was his post-fight opinion.
What is he doing post-fight analysis for?
But that's what I'm saying.
Well,
that
they
Cormier
got a
should have been
contract
there.
with ESPN
It's
now.
the new contract.
I mean,
But like,
they're gonna
when I'm
use him
looking-
for big fights.
But when I'm looking for post-fight analysis, who wants to see that guy? Who cares about him?
But
exactly, just tune him out if that's.
Yeah, but
that's
no.
it. I don't watch him. The only reason,
But generally,
the
the most
only
people watch
reason I know about this Stephen A. Smith thing is because Joe Rogan was talking about it. I don't pay attention to Stephen A. Smith. I don't know Stephen A. Smith. I did a little research about him. Turns out he really doesn't like weed, and he was a college basketball player. That's what I learned about him, and he's kind of mysterious. He may be married. He may not. He may like women. He may not. We don't really know. Okay? So he's like a bit of a mysterious guy. I was doing research. I was like, who is this man? He seems a bit strange. But that's besides the point. The only reason we're talking about him, the only reason that I care about him in this moment is because Joe Rogan is talking about him, and I know Joe Rogan, and I know that this Stephen A. Smith guy doesn't seem to know anything, so to question Joe Rogan in an MMA context, it's like, all right, dude, that's enough, and people are making a big deal about it because they're going back and forth on the internet, Rogan and Smith, and people were saying that they should have a fight, and I agree 100%. I think they should
I
have a
agree
fight.
with that. Like, and Joe Rogan would kill him. Like,
Yeah, it'd be funny.
and it would be like the biggest pay-per-view other than McGregor.
Yeah, it would sell big time. Because he's very popular in the States. He's a very popular
Exactly. So let's
personality.
embrace the
it'd be like a Logan Paul fight. That's what you're trying to get at. So what it comes down to is,
I think Logan Paul would probably beat him too.
oh yeah, Logan Paul is pretty good in his boxing now. But you know what? Look, McGregor even said he had a problem with Smith, and he asked for an apology.
Yeah, he told him to apologize.
He told him to apologize, and he asked for for full respect for MMA fighters. And dissing Cerrone, Conor came to defend him.
It's
And you know what?
disrespectful.
It is disrespectful.
What about us saying that Cerrone never shows up in big fights? Is that like
No,
not
that's an
disrespectful?
opinion
That's
based
an educated opinion
Yeah.
based on fact.
Yeah, but if I'm going in right now, we're three guys talking about MMA, or Dave talks about, you talk about WWE. If I go into the Marinaro show and start talking about hockey and putting in my 2 cents about how the game should have went, you know what? I'm in the wrong sport.
That's
like
it.
I have no business to be on Marinaro
If you had the
show to
opportunity,
say
you
that.
would jump on it.
No, listen. If it was maybe.
If AJ had the opportunity
But I
for
would-
more
I-
mic time, he would jump on
I
it.
probably wouldn't, man. I wouldn't unless it came up and Marinaro started
And I'll tell
talking
you
about
something.
MMA. That's a
good
different story.
point. And that's something, in sports media that happens a lot. These guys that kind of have to have a take on every sport. You can't
But they're
know.
entertainers because
Yeah,
they got to
sure.
fill up.
Of course, they have to fill time.
This is what I
But
do.
They also have to have an opinion on every sport. And I recognize that opinion is not always going to be educated because you can't be an expert on every sport. There are too many players, there are too many games, there's too much happening. You can be an expert on 1 or 2 sports, but to be an expert on 5 or 6 sports, these ESPN guys that pretend to be experts on like every
not
single
experts.
sport, they're not. They're just pretending.
No,
They have opinions.
It's entertainment.
They're general sports fans. It's entertainment. But to go to them to be your be-all and end-all for one sport or another, it's a little, there are some of those guys that are specialists, and they may know football really well, but when they talk basketball, they don't know anything, There are those guys, but
Look,
you know.
he's a journalist. He
Is
does.
he?
Yeah. He went
he's
to.
not a commentator?
Well, I mean, he went to he started in Philadelphia as a beat writer. He followed like the Sixers and all that. Like Stephen A. Smith is a journalist. He just learned that a way to make money is by being a showman, and
Yeah.
that's what he is. That's just what he is. And I think if you want MMA to keep on growing, you got to embrace all these idiots. Can I say idiots?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Well, I'll tell you what. Stephen A. Smith,
Well,
you're taking
people-
everything I worked for.
That's
I'm
true.
going to fight your ass.
I
you
want
got
that
a good
$8 million
point
a
there,
year.
Give me that $8 million, Stephen A. Smith. I'll see you in the octagon.
And we'll sell it on YouTube like
Yo.
Logan Paul did and made like millions of dollars.
I wouldn't want to fight him though. He's quite old. Like I'd feel
No,
bad.
no,
I'd feel bad.
no.
I saw him throw punches. It wouldn't be fair.
No, those punches weren't great. Don't you have a clip of
those
that?
Punches were the ugliest punches I've ever seen.
It was like kind of like those two robot like kids toys where you play against each other. What was it, Rock 'em, Sock 'em?
Could we stop putting bad mitt work on the internet, please? Like, if you throw punches that terribly, and Stephen A. Smith isn't the only culprit of this, I've seen it from other people. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I guess these boxing coaches are pumping these guys up, saying, "Oh, you look amazing, your hand speed, your power.
You look so good,
like,
man.
Cool, let's put it on the internet." And then meanwhile, people are looking at you and laughing, you know? There are so many guys out there. Like, I see it a lot, okay? People out there putting their mitt work out, and I'm like, you look stupid. Your hands are so slow. Why would you put that out there?
It was bad timing.
It makes you look bad.
I would look stupid also. I don't do striking.
You know what?
And you wouldn't put it out on the internet, though.
Yeah, but you want to be saying, you know what? I can outbox George.
Not a video that bad. That's right.
Like
I wouldn't
Stephen A.
put that
Smith,
video.
would you put that out?
That video, no, I wouldn't put that.
Especially
Why did you
after
put that out?
especially after a comment and after all the heat that you're getting, why would you put that out? So the thing is, maybe he's looking for that controversy, like you said, Fred. He's an entertainer, and that's what makes him $8 million. That's why we do what we do. So I got to start hamming it up to be like kind of Steve Smith, so we get a couple of million out of this. But the truth of the matter is that if I want to see the fight and I want to see the end of the fight and get analytical opinions, I want to listen to Cormier. I want to listen to Rogan. And I'm the same guy who's going to listen to the post-conference. I want to hear what the fighters had to say. And I want to hear what that talk is about. But prior to that, I want to hear somebody like Cormier. When Cormier talks, he makes 100% sense in everything throughout the fight. He can break it down. Now that's what I want.
You're
as an
completely
MMA
right.
guy, I want to see that.
But you know what? I remember the first Fox card.
Okay.
And I thought it was kind of cool that Joe Buck did the intro. That's Joe Buck that does like baseball, that does football.
That's an intro,
That means
right?
that means MMA is getting to the mainstream. So it's
that's
part of
fine.
it.
But
Joe Buck doesn't know.
Yeah, so then you know what?
about
Let's
MMA.
see like Joe Rogan going into like I don't know, let's say basketball and start putting down his analytical breakdown. Even if he knows the game great from a fan perspective, most people will like flip out on that network and say, who's this guy coming into our sport? But yet in the UFC, we have to kind of.
It's a
I don't like
15-second
that
clip we're
No,
taking
man.
way too seriously.
I don't
It's
like.
not.
Look, I don't like any of this stuff. I don't like these general sports guys coming into MMA, talking to MMA fighters and pretending like they know something. It's a waste of my time because I'm not getting any information. I'm just getting some weak jokes. Like, I don't find Stephen A. Smith that entertaining. If he was really trying to be entertaining, he'd be like a stand-up comedian or a movie actor or something. He's not that. He's a weak sports announcer, okay? I don't care. I don't need to see that. I don't need to see MMA people going into other sports either. I don't need to see Joe
He's the
Rogan.
GOAT.
Whatever. I don't need to see Joe Rogan calling baseball games. I don't need to see any of that stuff. And I know there's a lot of MMA reporters out there, a lot of people that follow MMA, that if they got the chance, they jump and go, cover baseball or football or basketball because they're using MMA as a stepping stone to some other thing. But I'm not about that either. You give me some sort of show on some other sport, I'm not taking it. I don't want to watch these other sports. I don't care about
Dave.
this other stuff.
Don't sell out, Dave.
This is
Don't
real.
sell out.
This is 100% all the time. We're MMA people, and we don't want no BS. We don't want no Stephen A. Smith. We don't want to go watch a basketball game. We're not trying to do any of this stuff, okay? We're trying to watch MMA. We're trying to watch fighting only. We're in the gym. We're actually doing this stuff. We're all doing jiu-jitsu. We're taking this 100% seriously because this is our life and this is what we do. We're not here just because we're trying to make a lane for ourselves. You know what I mean? We're not trying to make a little job for ourselves here. We're doing this because this is what we do. We're martial arts people. Okay? And when there's other people that come in and are like, oh, we're trying to get in, I'm like, nah. You don't belong.
No love, hashtag.
You don't belong.
That
love.
is not the martial arts way.
For sure it is, Freddie.
Well,
What
yeah.
are you talking
No,
about?
Okay.
you got to embrace the newcomers.
Okay, well, yeah.
To the art.
Use them as fresh meat.
You know what Joe Rogan Joe
You
Rogan
know what a newcomer is.
That's
Yeah,
it.
Joe
Newcomer's
Rogan
fresh meat,
needs
baby.
Joe Rogan needs to invite Stephen A to his podcast, which would make like millions
It'd
of
be great.
Yeah,
That would be
exactly.
good.
The
That
clicks
would
would
be
be
good.
huge, and have like a grappling session right there with him, just to
That's
show him how dangerous he is. You know,
Look, Rogan.
Just to show him how much he doesn't know.
Listen, most people that see Rogan don't realize how dangerous this guy is. He's a black belt under Eddie Bravo. He has like high level like kickboxing and Muay Thai
Jean-Jacques
experience.
Machado.
This guy's training with like some of the best athletes in the world at all times. he is fit as a fiddle. And one thing with Rogan is he'll bust a lot of guys' asses in MMA that are actually fighting
Rogan's
on a
gonna
competitive
smoke
level.
a joint with Stephen A.
No, but Stephen A.
Yeah, well,
listen,
that would
I don't know how the-
Maybe Stephen A. will finally stop saying get off the weed, stay off the weed. Look,
Look.
he annoys me. Like his stance on marijuana completely annoys me.
Look,
I'm just telling you,
And
like,
really, Stephen A. Smith, he's getting more out of this than Joe Rogan is.
True.
Who's bigger, Stephen A. Smith or Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan.
I'd say
Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
For sure.
Joe
Joe
Rogan's
Rogan.
way bigger. Like, does Stephen A. Smith smoke weed with Elon Musk on a podcast? I don't think so. Does Stephen A. Smith interview Bernie Sanders for over an hour on his show? I don't think so.
Well,
Like,
I
Joe
mean,
Rogan is a high-level operator.
Oh,
Stephen A.
man.
Smith is talking to
now
to
you're
baseball
not
players.
being fair. No,
I mean,
no,
Stephen A. Smith,
no.
he's
You're
talking-
not being
he's talking to
fair.
athletes. Joe Rogan is a comedian. Joe Rogan is a versatile guy.
You're
Stephen
not
A.
being
Smith,
fair.
Stephen A. Smith is just a loudmouth on ESPN. Joe Rogan actually has versatility. He does different things. Joe Rogan,
And he's super cool,
He's a
man.
UFC.
Can I say
commentator.
something?
He's a podcaster. He's a
Can
stand-up
I say
comedian.
something? 5 minutes ago, you were being critical of Stephen A. being too versatile, and now all
What
of
do
a
you mean
sudden,
versatile?
like covering
No.
too many different sports. And now that Joe Rogan covers a bunch of stuff, that's good.
Well, no, it's completely different, Fred. And you know it. You know it's completely different. Stephen A. Smith tries to talk about a bunch of different sports that he doesn't really know about. Joe Rogan has a podcast and he interviews people, and then he
talks about a bunch of things that he
Well,
doesn't really know.
No, what happens on Joe Rogan's podcast is that he interviews people and he lets those people say whatever they want because he's not really sure if they're right or not, and then people get really mad at Joe Rogan, like when he interviewed Alex Jones and Joe Rogan didn't really question him on anything, and people were like, Joe Rogan, you really should have stopped him when he said certain things and questioned him, but Joe Rogan, doesn't always know any better. He just kind of lets his guests talk, and Joe Rogan takes a lot of heat for that, but that's a whole different
But that's pretty cool because he lets the person be who it is, and then people can make that judgment
Yes.
if he's right or wrong.
He lets you decide for yourself, but a lot of people feel that he should interject more and maybe stop people from saying things that are a little, maybe incorrect.
So basically, Ringside Report loves Joe Rogan.
Yeah, we do
Hopefully,
like
Joe Rogan puts out love.
I love
for
Joe
Ringside Report.
Rogan. I love Stephen A. Even though sometimes he annoys me also, but
I like Joe Rogan.
I'll embrace
I
him.
gotta say, I don't really like Stephen A. Smith. I don't find him entertaining. I would not seek out his show to watch it. I listen to the Joe Rogan show. I wouldn't listen to the Stephen A. show. Mostly, I don't like his style, and I don't care about the stuff he's talking about.
But like Freddie said, I like to see him on a show with Rogan on his podcast and like see where this leads. And again, like they're gonna have to work together. How is that gonna happen? Like what? Like it's kind of weird, no?
Fight it out. Fight it
I
out.
don't know.
I think this is the first fight in media. Come on, man. There's a lot of egos.
On your first day on the job, Freddie?
It's not his first
not
day,
good,
first
man.
of all, and there's a lot of egos in media, in the media. Trust me, man.
Really?
Yeah, there's people
Really,
with.
Fred? There's egos in media? That's crazy.
That's what I heard.
Really? Wow, I had no idea. All right, we got to take a break.
Already?
Yeah.
Wow.
We're like we should have taken a break a long time ago.
Smoke
AJ.
break.
I wish. All right, we got to take a short break. Yeah, take that, Stephen A. Smith. I will not stay off the weed. All right, it's legal here in Canada. Deal with it, Stevie. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about Jorge Masvidal and Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman, he doesn't like weed. He smoked it a few times. I heard him talk about it with Joe Rogan. It was pretty good. We'll talk about Usman and Masvidal. It seems like they are headed for a fight and some other stuff going on in the world of MMA. A short pause on the radio side. Stay with us. We're still here,
Nice,
though.
man.
We're still here.
You know what? You should put up that video of
Yeah, I don't know if it would work because the...
Try it, man.
Settle down, man.
Man, you got to get this tech stuff up to date,
Yo,
man.
shut up, bro. Don't tell me what
I want to watch. I want to see the video, man.
You haven't seen it?
I did, but I want like our peeps to watch it, man.
Our peeps?
Our peeps.
I don't know. I can't find it.
Peeps. Don't you say peeps?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Like we don't own the rights, so
That's right.
I'm not sure.
But
how
it's
that
on
works.
Twitter, Facebook. It's all over the world. You're allowed to show it.
Yeah.
Are you?
Like,
I don't
seriously,
know,
it's
but
already
I mean,
public
ESPN
domain.
is showing it, so why wouldn't ESPN's not more
Let's see
important
if I
than
could get a...
Our people want to know, man. Inquiry minds.
Man, chill out. See, this is your problem, AJ. You always ask me to do shit.
Because I don't have control of that keyboard. If I did, it'd be a lot worse.
Even if you did, you still couldn't figure it out.
Look,
all right, I got it.
You got it? Okay, here we go.
Look at those punches.
Oh.
Who's he punching? He's punching like a baby.
But it's also the
Why
angle.
is he
Look at
punching
that.
so low? What are these Now, apparently this was after he had shoulder surgery.
It's like he's swinging a golf club or something.
You know how he tore his labrum?
No.
Patting himself on the back. Facts.
That's so. Well, fact. Is this a joke?
Like as you were talking about Stephen A, sometimes I was wondering if you were talking about AJ.
What?
You know, like crazy opinions.
Well, that's what I was trying to say.
Just
Didn't you get
hanging on to it like a dog on the bone to his
But
opinions.
Freddie, didn't you get at one point? I was trying to say that like 8 million. I'll start talking like him and getting out of control. But Dave always cuts me off or whatever. But think of the money, man. Think of the ratings.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Think of the ratings.
I find that guy to be just kind of weak.
Look, he's an older
Like,
guy.
He
You
seems
know
like
what?
he doesn't know anything.
What's next? O.J. Simpson making
He's
a
an older
commentary
guy.
on
How
the,
old is he?
I don't know.
was
I guess
born-
he's in his mid-50s.
He was born in 1967. So how?
What?
He's 52.
That's it? And he's fighting like that? He should be ashamed.
Yeah, right.
Oh, Lord, help me.
Man,
Why? How old are you?
It don't matter.
AJ, this guy's only a couple years older than you. He looks at least 10 years older than you,
That
right?
guy's not 52
But he's
years
only
old.
like less than 2 years old.
No.
Yeah, I know, but he looks like a good 10 years older than AJ, doesn't
You
he?
guys, man.
Hey, AJ.
But like I'm telling you, at 52, you're like throwing punches like that.
I
My
know.
grandfather at 80 was throwing better punches than that.
yeah,
That's embarrassing.
who is this guy to
I thought
talk
this guy
about
was
fighting?
like exactly.
Guy's a
I don't
jabroni.
think
You know
that's
what?
fair.
Why don't you go up to Tiger Woods?
I don't think that's
AJ,
fair.
You love this guy. Freddie, you
No,
love this guy.
Freddie
No,
loves
no.
Stephen A. Smith.
No, that's not fair. That's like saying if you've never you've played baseball at what level, so you can't talk baseball. You're not allowed to talk.
Me throwing a baseball looks way better than Stephen A. throwing a punch.
Well, I mean, you've never played high level still. I mean,
So?
okay,
But
so
can you
it's the same
Do
thing.
I talk about baseball with any kind of authority ever?
He's
Yeah.
allowed to talk
Listen,
MMA,
man, it's like- this is
and
what
we're
it is.
allowed to laugh at
Listen,
him.
no, man.
Stephen A. Smith should stick to basketball.
A little bit
'Cause
more positivity.
He played college basketball. Stick to basketball. Shut the fuck up about everything else.
Embrace debate.
No, man. It's like Freddie. It's like going up to Tiger Woods and telling him how to do a better swing. It doesn't make sense.
All right, well, I'll tell you
You know-
what. I'm going to have mad opinions on all sorts of sports. Who's playing in the Super Bowl this weekend?
49ers.
So the Chiefs and the 49ers?
Oh, Freddie.
Oh, well,
49ers.
Fred, the 49ers are going to beat the Chiefs. Like, the Chiefs obviously suck. They don't have any defense. They're terrible. They're an awful team.
They got Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes is the worst quarterback in the history of the game. He doesn't know anything. He's a total loser, and he's going to quit on his team like he quits on his team in every big game because he's a total jabroni. Patrick Mahomes, you
It's
suck.
the second season.
Yeah, exactly. He's inexperienced. He doesn't know what he's doing. The San Francisco 49ers quarterback has probably played longer than this other man, so they're obviously going to win.
Nah.
They're from San Francisco, which is better, and they have more experience in Super Bowls. Kansas City has never won a Super Bowl ever in the history of Kansas City, and they won't win one now because they suck at
I
football.
think Kansas City won the
Dude,
third Super
I don't
Bowl.
know anything about football. I'm making up an opinion. I'm pretending to be Stephen A. Smith.
But and you
Where's
sounded
my
really
money?
good, man. You
But
sounded
that was
good, man.
that was great, man.
Everybody can do it.
Damn, man.
It's not
Why don't
hard
you do that on radio?
because I don't want to make money being a bullshit artist.
No, but you forgot to say the defense needs to press hard. Blitz.
Defense needs to press
But you
hard and
sounded so
blitz.
convincing, man. You convinced me. I thought you're like,
Yeah,
Wow.
because it's not that hard to
It's
fool
entertainment.
people.
bravo, Dave.
bullshit.
Bravo.
But I spend my days listening
Bravo.
to ESPN, so
I don't know how
I
you
love
do
it.
I don't know how you do
I
it.
love it.
Freddie loves ESPN.
Shit.
Well, maybe ESPN
Hire
can
me,
show us some-
ESPN. I'll quit on
What?
both of you.
What? How can you do that, Freddie?
I'll quit for an eighth of what you're paying Stephen A.
AJ, your sweatshirt has a misprint on it.
What? Don't say that.
I'm saying.
No.
Does it?
Yeah. Fred,
Yeah.
Where? Don't say that because the sponsors will be very upset.
They're not a sponsor of the show.
Well, they were at one point.
Heavyweight. There's no H at the end of heavyweight.
Not if you're Mike Tyson, heavyweight.
Yeah. Do you see that?
Is there?
Did you not notice that?
No, man. You think I look at this stuff?
AJ, get close to the camera. Show this here. Show this off. Can we get in on this? Can we get in on this right
Zoom
there?
in, man.
Heavyweight.
With.
There's an H at the end of heavyweight. It says heavyweight boxing.
Hey, man, when you come from South Bronx, this is heavyweight.
You didn't
Really?
notice that?
I didn't notice, of course
We were
not.
doing the show. and
Actually, this might be like a collector's item. Like a coin, man. It could be worth
It's
millions.
so good because we're doing the show and I'm talking to you and you're saying nonsense and you're not making any sense. And then
What
I
are you
look.
talking about? I'm not making
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
I mean, lots of sense.
You're talking about John Jones or something losing next week, which
Hey,
is
man,
ridiculous.
listen,
And then I
you
look
heard it
down.
here
And then
first.
I look down at your shirt and you've misspelled heavyweight on
It's
your
not my.
shirt.
I'm not the one who makes
Wait,
this shirt.
let's go back. What is a picogram?
A pico is a peacock.
You still
Listen,
don't
man,
fucking know.
I don't really give a rat's
Shit.
ass. Listen, I told you what the picogram. It was broken down to this. It's like taking a tablespoon of substance, illegal, hashtag John Jones, and throwing it into a swimming pool, which means, oh, there's hardly anything in that pool. But yet, you're cheating. Cheating, hashtag cheating. It's not my fault. I'm not the one
Cheating,
doing,
hashtag cheating?
I'm not doing picogram stuff like
Eat
whatever.
the donut. Eat the donut.
Where's the donut? Oh,
Dave
yeah.
has to speak.
Thank you.
Je t'aime.
Pay
So,
some bills.
Where's it from, Fred?
Pay some donuts.
Where's it from,
You're
Fred?
not allowed to say it.
Come on, Freddie, say it. They're on
So
special.
Stitcher
Oh,
at the
Stitcher.
Ringside Report Network. We've been making podcasts for a little over 15 years now, and many of you have been using Stitcher to stream or download our shows, Wrestling Uncensored, Ringside Report MMA. Stitcher offering you the Ringside Report universe as part of their sponsorship of our work, a special offer on the premium version of their service. Besides all of our podcasts, you can listen to over 100,000 podcasts on your iPhone, Android tablet, PC, Amazon Echo device, or in your car. On demand, ad-free with Stitcher Premium. You've got the Joe Rogan Experience, Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, Mark Maron Show, MMA Fighting. Stephen A. Smith probably has a podcast there. You also get Stitcher Originals, bonus episodes, comedy albums, and more. It's $4.99 a month, $34.99 a year, but what you got to do right now is go to Stitcher.com/premium. You sign up today, use the promo code RINGSIDE for a free month, and you let Stitcher know that we sent you. So you go to Stitcher.com/premium right now, sign up for a free month using the promo code RINGSIDE. Sign up today.
That was beautiful, Dave. Beautiful. I thought you were going to say Bruce Springsteen.
Why was I going to say Bruce
I don't know,
Springsteen?
every time I hear Bruce, I think of Bruce Springsteen, Bruce Lee. I don't know that guy. Who is that guy?
Bruce Pritchard?
I don't know.
He's a wrestling guy. Don't worry about it, AJ. Don't worry.
I worry about it.
I
do.
You're worried. Speaking of wrestling, don't forget to watch me and Johnny tomorrow. We're going to be talking about some big changes in WWE corporate on Dave and Johnny Live. They fired their COO. Interesting move. I don't know, man. Their business is not doing well. Like money is down.
Wait, let me get this.
And they're firing people in corporate WWE.
WWE is not making money like $1 billion organization.
Well, their stock is down.
What?
So there is some concern.
So they're going to get rid of Brock. That's what's going to happen. They can't afford him. Send him back to the UFC.
That's not the plan, but okay.
You never know.
Let's go to our friends over at IP Vanish. Now, you need a VPN, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You need a VPN, and I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
Kamaru Usman got his phone hacked.
What?
Okay? He was
yeah,
hacked.
True. Yeah, but guess who's his manager?
He got his Twitter hacked. No. This is what happened to Kamaru Usman. He got hacked. And how did he get hacked? Because he was using a Wi-Fi hotspot. He was using public Wi-Fi, and somebody got into his phone, got into his passwords,
Ali.
hacked his banking information. No, that's not what happened. It wasn't his manager. He got for real hacked, okay? And the reason he got hacked was he was using public Wi-Fi without a VPN. Now, you need a VPN. And when you get this, you got to get IP Vanish because it's the best one out there. And it is IP Vanish's 8th birthday. So they're having a birthday celebration for the month of February. New users can earn special savings as part of the IP Vanish celebration. IP Vanish offering 67% off the annual VPN subscription, along with 250 gigs of free SugarSync cloud storage. So you can get this bundle right now. Go there. Starts on February the 1st, so actually you're going to have to wait a couple days. February 1st is when it starts, and it'll go all month of February. And to hook yourself up, you go to vpn.ringsidereport.net. You go to vpn.ringsidereport.net right now. You sign up for IP Vanish, and you could get IP Vanish for as low as $3.99 a month, which is a tremendous deal, and it's something that you need. I've got it on all my devices. If you're using public Wi-Fi, you for sure need a VPN. If you want to access things like you're using the internet from your server's location, if you want to make sure that you can watch things and you're not geo-blocked, you need a VPN. You need IP Vanish. Go hook yourself up. vpn.ringsidereport.net. Do it now.
So it wasn't Ali. That's what you're telling me.
No.
I heard that he has the control of all their accounts and like
You
whatever.
hear a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you hear a lot of things that are untrue, and then you come on the show, and then you say them.
Hey, man, that's
why I spend half the show correcting you, because I don't want Ringside Report to be a source of false information.
It's not false, man. That's what they said.
Yeah, who's they?
They. The powers above us. Is he not controlling?
What's happening here, Fred?
Because you see, like, he is a character. Like,
Yeah.
Give me $8 million, man. Forget that.
like
Stephen A. Smith.
he has no journalistic like integrity at
What
all.
are you talking
like,
about?
no.
I have full integrity. I'm the guy that always pulls it off right, the cards.
No.
Don't get mad at me. Don't be a hater, Fred. Last week you were on my side. Like you started like the new year on my side.
You have no regard for facts.
Listen, man, the fact is this. He got hacked. And the fact is that John Jones had illegal substances in his body. Don't blame me. He had picograms, lots of picograms. So, you know what? Don't get mad.
Picograms.
I'm sure he had a few pickles in his life, but that's a different story. In Russia, they do all kinds of crazy stuff. But you know what? I'm going to tell you this. You know what I'm talking about, Dave.
No.
We can't say it. We're not allowed to say it. Like, we can't say certain things about George, and we can't say... Well, did I say that?
Moving on.
Talking about George. Are we on radio yet?
I don't know.
Let's go
nothing.
back. I don't want to hear from AJ anymore. AJ, you got a lot of nonsense coming out of you.
Hey, man, don't get mad at me.
Heavyweight.
Heavyweight.
How do you have a sweatshirt that says heavyweight on
Hey,
it?
listen, man.
How did you not notice either?
You think I like...
How long have you had this sweatshirt?
I had it since Christmas, actually.
Since Christmas, and you didn't notice that it says heavyweight? How did they misspell heavyweight?
That's a good...
Where did it come from? Who gave it to you?
One of our past sponsors.
Is it a Chinese bootleg? Does it have coronavirus on it? Is it
about
real?
Corona. It's real. It's as real as it gets, man. It's as real
So that's
as it gets.
authentic Leone.
That's authentic.
Maybe you should alert Leone that they have a misprint on their hoodie.
Is there? It's legit, man.
Yeah.
It's legit.
Heavyweight.
Heavyweight. Listen, man. I don't make them. I just wear them.
Jeez.
If you want to sponsor our show, simple. Just call Dave Simon. We'll get you on the air. We'll wear your clothes. We'll take your money. Even if you have a misprint, don't worry about it. We won't tell anybody, except Dave blew it right now, so it's all over. But don't forget,
All right.
Dave Simon,
Sorry.
ringsidereport.net.
I'm seeing people here on the chat. DLC's going to smoke a joint.
What? What's up with all this smoking?
D-Skeet is smoking weed here
What
on the
is it,
chat.
our weed show, man?
I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of people on our chat. They have like joints rolled and they're going to smoke weed. So
That means our show must be good if they're doing that.
Yeah, I mean, people are partying with our show. I like it. Our
Listen,
show
if you really wanna
our show
party-
is a vibe. You know,
You know it is, and if you
You
want
know
to...
what I'm saying, Fred? Like
Freddie,
our show is like it's like the weed MMA show somehow.
But you know what? If they come to the watch-along, it
Fuck
gets
off,
even
Stephen
better.
A. Smith. He keeps telling people stay off the weed. That's like one of his catchphrases. I found out. I was like, man, what a weak motherfucker that
Maybe
is. I
he
don't like
needs
that
weed
shit.
for his
Oh.
arthritis in his
Like-
arms there.
He makes
You're
me
taking
so
everything I worked for, motherfucker. I'm gonna fight your fucking ass.
he makes me so mad with those opinions.
Nate
Like I
Diaz,
say,
you know?
I don't like Stephen A.
Don't be a
Smith most of
heavyweight.
the time. I'm just telling you, he's a big star, so let's embrace
We're
him.
a big star. Does anybody give us $8 million? Not yet, but soon they will. Trust me. Because Dave's going to fight Stephen A. Smith.
Yo, I'll fight him for $8 million.
Yeah.
I'll fight him for 500 grand. Really, I mean.
What 500 grand?
I mean,
Let's go.
fuck it. I'll fight him for $500. To be honest, I mean that's an easy 500.
Man, you're a cheap date, buddy.
I'll take that shit.
That's
I
a
mean,
cheap one.
for a first fight, like just make sure you get the money in advance, though.
Yeah, whatever. I'll
Who
take.
did that before? I'm
Look,
trying to remember.
if I don't get my
yeah.
500, I'll just take it off Stephen A. after he's unconscious.
Yeah, but you can't, Dave. He's a senior citizen, man. Come on. You can't
No,
do
he's
this
not.
stuff.
He's in
He's
his
just 2
50s.
years older than you.
Yeah,
come
he's
on.
your age, bro.
You guys.
You
Listen,
guys.
listen, first of all, you know what? Even Rogan can't fight him because, no, actually, Rogan is what?
Rogan's
40?
like older than him.
Are you kidding me?
Yo,
Rogan's
Joe
not in his
Rogan's-
50s?
Yeah, he is.
Of course.
So then Rogan can smash him.
Joe Rogan is 52. They're the same age.
You're kidding me.
No.
They don't even look this. Are you kidding me?
I know. Compare Joe Rogan and that
Wow,
guy,
Rogan
right?
looks
Crazy.
awesome, man. Mazel tov, Rogan. Hope he gives us a shout out at some point.
Oh,
I know
geez.
you're listening, Joe. Make sure you put out a good shout out for the Canadian guys, as well as the wrestling show, the WWE show.
All right, let's get back
Get
to
us
this
on your
thing.
show.
Shut up, AJ.
Come on.
Fuck.
You want to be like, you want to be loved like those donuts. I forgot the company name. It was called. What does it begin with?
Okay. Let's get back to it here.
It wasn't Dunkin'
and-
Donuts. No.
All right, welcome back. It's Ringside Report. I'm Dave Simon. Fred Garcia's here. AJ DeLesio is here. AJ is acting a fool once again. If you are listening to this show on the radio, you're missing out on a lot. There's a lot that goes on during the commercial breaks. We do commercials. We have our own commercials that we do. We talk about other things. I swear a lot. I was cussing up a storm.
Not us, not me and Freddie.
No,
You
no,
know,
they kept it clean,
we
and I
do.
was really just letting loose here. So if you want to hear that stuff, you want to see that stuff, you go to ringsidereport.net. It's the website, ringsidereport.net. We have so much there. Wrestling Uncensored's there. David Johnny Live is there. All our watch-alongs are there. All on the front page, all available in podcast and video form. Everything we do is available as a video and as a podcast. We do it all.
It's beautiful. Oh, by the
so
way,
easy.
By the way,
Ringsidereport.net. Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
guys, Gung Hei Fat Choi. You guys don't know, eh? I guess not.
What were we saying?
Gung Hei Fat Choi.
I don't know what that means.
It means Happy New Year, guys. It's the Chinese New Year, the year of the rat. That's the Italian New Year. Tony Marinaro will know exactly what you just said there.
Oh.
And so will the Sopranos.
No disrespect.
And all of Montreal North, bud.
No
But I'll tell you
disrespect.
this. No disrespect. But you're the rat, guys. It's the year of the rat.
Oh, it is the year of the rat.
Yeah, it's the
Ali
Kenny
Abdel-Aziz.
Linsman. Remember Kenny Linsman? I guess
No.
not. I guess.
How old
forget
are you, bro?
it. Kind of like Stephen A. Smith and I guess Joe Rogan levels.
Rat. The year of the rat. All right. So, speaking of the rat, Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor called Ali Abdel-Aziz a terrorist rat. But Ali Abdel-Aziz is not a terrorist nor a rat. He's a human being, as far as I know. And he is the manager of the UFC welterweight champion and the manager of the UFC lightweight champion. He manages a lot of champions, this guy. He manages Kamaru Usman. He manages Khabib Nurmagomedov. And both of those guys want to fight one man. And that man is George St-Pierre. And I listened to Kamaru Usman on Joe Rogan this week. It was a fascinating interview. I learned a lot about Kamaru Usman. And one thing that was really interesting to me was when he was talking about fighting GSP. And he talked about why he wants to fight GSP and why he believes Khabib wants to fight GSP. Now, Usman is the world champion. He is the number one ranked 170-pounder in the world. Right now, there is no one above him, right? Khabib is the number one 155er in the world, looked at as one of the best fighters in the world. No one above Khabib. And Kamaru Usman, the way he talked about George St-Pierre is that he's this guy that's out there that wasn't beat, that was the best to ever do it, and he's still out there, he's still training, he's still that guy, and it feels like Kamaru Usman is not sure if he's the number one or if George still is. It feels like Kamaru Usman, what he was saying basically was, I'm the number one right now, and I'm trying to challenge myself. And Usman, George Masvidal is probably his next fight. Usman didn't seem concerned about Masvidal at all. He didn't seem that impressed with him whatsoever. Usman wants to challenge himself. He wants to know if he's really the best. And what Usman seemed to be saying is, to really know if you are the best, you have to fight George St-Pierre, and you have to find out, because George is still the greatest of all time. He's still out there. He's still great, and Usman seems to want that challenge. Joe Rogan asked him if there was one fight that you could take, who would it be if you could wave a magic wand? And he said GSP, without a doubt. Not Conor McGregor. He said, Conor would be too easy. Conor's too small. What Khabib did to him, I would do to him much worse. Conor fought at 145. Usman said he'd have to chop off a leg to make 145. He's so much bigger than Conor McGregor, and even though he'd make tons of money fighting Conor, Usman wants to fight George St-Pierre because he wants to know
And
who is the best.
What is GSP saying when you're saying Usman? He's probably saying, who, man?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
Who, man?
I don't think GSP wants that. I don't think GSP.
Well, I mean, GSP is about money right now. Like, I don't think GSP is about. Well, I mean, he's about big fights. GSP is not coming back for like small fights. It has to have some prestige, and it has to be.
I'm operating under the premise that GSP is not about money or about big fights. That GSP is about legacy, and GSP wants to fight and win a third championship in a third weight division. That seems to be what GSP wants.
Title fights bring big money fights, so he's a big name.
But he's not looking for a title fight at 185. He's not looking for a title fight at 170. He's been champion there. He's looking for a title fight at 155. He's looking to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov, not because he's Khabib, not because the fight would make money, but because Khabib is a 155-pound champion, and George St-Pierre would like to be the first and only man to be a 3-division champion in the UFC.
I'm sure
that's what
George
said.
I'm sure everything you say is right, but at the same time, I'll tell you the Khabib fight. Khabib is a bigger star than Usman, and Khabib is probably an easier fight for George than Usman. If George wanted his legacy, come beat the current welterweight champion and reclaim your title. That would be pretty impressive. Also, I'm just saying. Usman, right now, if he wants to be a bigger star and attract a George St-Pierre fight, he needs to beat Masvidal. So go beat Masvidal. Masvidal comes with a following. If you're impressive, maybe you grab some of that following, up your value a little bit. But right now, he's not in the discussion for GSP. I don't think GSP comes out of retirement for Usman.
I don't think he does either, but I liked what Usman was saying about George, how he still believes that George is still that guy.
Daydreaming.
Well, I think Khabib feels the same way, and I think if Khabib does beat Tony Ferguson, he may call for George St-Pierre.
Wouldn't you say there's a much higher chance of GSP coming back for Khabib than for Usman?
For sure.
My point.
But again,
I just like the respect that Usman has for him, and you kind of get an idea of what's in his head. It's like, yeah, Usman knows he's the best right now, but there's got to be something in him that wonders, am I really the best guy walking at 170 pounds? If you're the champion, but there's a guy named George St-Pierre out there who, if he fought at 170, would beat you and everybody else in the division, are you really the best in the world? I don't think you are. You're the best currently competing, but you're not the best in the world. The best in the world is in Montreal, training at the TriStar Gym, and, just getting ready for the call whenever that may come, if it does come. I still think, I don't know about you guys, but I still think that George St-Pierre is the best welterweight walking the earth today. I still think if George went to the UFC and fought at 170, he'd beat Usman, he'd beat Masvidal, he'd beat the lot of them. I still think George is the number one guy at 170, and it seems like Usman thinks he might be as well, or at least would like to know and would like to prove that he might be the new best at 170.
Yeah, but you got to remember,
and I get it, man. If you're fighting to be the number one guy and you get to that point where you are the number one guy, it's got to bother you a little bit that there's this other guy that's out there that kind of retired, but he's still good, and you could wonder, I could beat all these guys.
Make your own legacy.
Sure, but, he could beat all those guys, but can he beat George St-Pierre?
Look, Johnny Hendricks, when he won his title, he just came off of the split decision. Was it against a split decision against Georgia? So, Johnny Hendricks, I could see, him being a little frustrated that a lot of people, including myself, still thought GSP was the champion at the time, and him, in his mind, probably thought himself as a champion. But
Hendricks thought he beat George in that fight, though.
But that's just part of it. Look, in boxing, Floyd Mayweather so many times won a title and just vacates it after. And to me, it's not a problem. It shouldn't be a problem. I'll go back to what I always say. It shouldn't be a problem if George were to defeat Usman, vacate the title, and we just get a new champion, and the division moves on from there, man. Life goes on.
And that's what I don't understand about Dana White and his stance on George St-Pierre.
Exactly. It shouldn't stop us.
Dana's mad because George said that after he beats Bisping and becomes a middleweight champion, that he'll stick around and defend the title. Once he beat Bisping, he decided he didn't want to stick around and defend the title, and he didn't want to fight a middleweight anymore, so he vacated the championship. And Dana's mad, and Dana has said, I'm not going to put George St-Pierre in another title fight where he could win that fight and then just walk away as a champion.
Yeah,
well,
but
so Dana White is scared because he knows that his champions can't beat GSP. Like that's like if I'm Khabib, I'm saying Dana, don't worry, George won't beat me. I will beat him. Stop trying to protect me.
But you know what? Again, like there you are ranting on Dana. But the truth of the matter is that Dana likes money. And Dana wants George. So I understand that you're saying that he's upset with him and whatnot. But the truth of the matter is, if George comes to fight anybody, even like a broomstick, it's going to be a pay-per-view blockbuster.
But George isn't just going to come back and fight anybody. And that's why Dana doesn't want George to come back. Because Dana understands that George is going to come back to fight a big fight, probably for a championship, probably a guy like Khabib. But Dana doesn't want to give George Khabib because Dana knows that he can make more money off Conor and Khabib, and that's a fight that he would like to make. If Dana White right now could tell Tony Ferguson, look, Tony, you're out of the fight, Conor's stepping in instead, he would do it, but he can't because there's a contract signed. But if he could, he would. And we all know it. We all know it. Dana wants Conor versus Khabib to happen so badly that if I'm Tony Ferguson, I'm being very careful fight week. I'm like, look, man, I'm not tripping over any wires. UFC better not set any booby traps for me.
Not drinking any bottle Dana's giving me.
Yeah, exactly.
Have it.
Hey, Dana White, here, Tony, have a drink. You look
just
thirsty.
Before your test.
Yeah, just before your drug test. Here, Tony, have
thirsty.
this.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Eat up, my
yeah. Stay away from Dana White fight week, Tony Ferguson. He wants you out of that fight with all of his heart, and we all know it. I mean, come on, guys. Let's be real. Dana doesn't want that fight to happen. He wants Conor to step in. If Tony Ferguson called Dana today, I was like, oh, Dana, I tore my ACL. Dana would be like, oh, Tony, that's too bad. And he would hang up the phone, and he would dance around. He'd be like, yeah, Conor time. He'd call Conor immediately. It'll be, Conor, guess what? You got great freaking news. Like, they would freak out.
And
they
you
would
hear the
love
bottle
it.
of champagne popping in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Dana would be celebrating big time. He would love it. But hopefully...
Let's hope it doesn't happen that way.
Hopefully he doesn't get his way and everything's ruined for him when Tony Ferguson does fight and beats Khabib.
That's
and then
not
you're
happening,
like,
Dave.
well, I guess we're not going to do the Khabib-Conor rematch. I guess Tony's going to have to fight Conor. And then Tony smashes Conor too.
Look.
Oh, boy.
But Dave, this is going to be the scenario.
I can't wait for
Dana
Tony
White
Ferguson.
has like...
Tony Ferguson's going to beat everybody up in 2020. And I'm just going to sit here loving it, collecting all the bagels.
Listen, I'm going to tell you what. Dana White is the genius. He has that crystal ball. He knows that Khabib is going to beat Ferguson. He's going to make a ton of money. And then he's going to have what he wants. Khabib versus Conor. And then the money gods are going to be pouring on Dana again. And then you know what? Again, going back with George. George, the last time he fought Bisping was how many years ago now? How many years now? 3 years? 2 years?
It's been a while.
Okay. The problem is that the game is changing all the time. The MMA game has changed every year. Better fighters, stronger fighters, heavier fighters in lighter divisions. The game is changing every minute that we speak. Does George have what it takes to fight against Usman?
Yes.
At 170, a bigger fighter who is he's kind of like a George in a way, in a sense. His takedowns are unbelievable. He's a lay and pray guy, kind of like George. It's not going to be the most exciting fight, but it will be a lot closer
his
fight.
His jiu-jitsu isn't as good.
But his takedowns are just
his kicking game is nowhere near as good, and his wrestling is maybe equal.
George is a better striker.
I think George is a better striker, and his jiu-jitsu is way better.
But we don't know that. He's been out of the game for many years now.
When we
that's
saw
the
him,
problem.
He fought in November 2017, and he looked amazing.
He looked amazing.
He looked
You're right.
better than ever.
But that was a perfect...
Didn't he look like a better version of
absolutely,
himself?
Now,
absolutely.
Here's my perfect prediction for George is that Masvidal causes a surprise, takes that title, and then that's a much easier fight for George.
That would be good. I agree with Fred on that.
Do you really think Masvidal is going to beat Usman? I do not.
Look, man. Look.
You should have heard the way Usman was talking about
Come
Masvidal.
on, Jorge.
Usman does not respect Masvidal whatsoever.
Well,
they got into
Neither does Masvidal.
They were on a Media Row Super Bowl thing, media stuff happening. They were both there, and they got into like a confrontation. They were held back. Nothing really happened.
Whoa, wait.
But what?
But it was
There was
weren't-
just words
look,
exchanged.
Look, Masvidal was cool as a cucumber. Usman looked like he had to be
Masvidal
taken
was cool.
away. He looked pretty
Masvidal
cool.
was doing gun fingers at
Yeah, yeah, he
Usman.
was
Did you
giving
see
him-
that? He was like,
he was giving
pew,
him
pew,
his
pew,
Miami love kind
pew,
of
pew,
thing.
pew. That was so lame. Yo, every time I see George
You just hate
Masvidal,
Masvidal.
I don't know. I used to like him, but every time I see him lately, I like him
Masvidal
less.
hater.
Yeah, I think I am now. I think I am. You know what? He didn't really beat Nate Diaz. The doctor stepped in and fought and stopped that.
What?
What?
Masvidal-
That is
that's
like the
right.
most crazy.
Facts.
As
Hey,
Stephen
Conor
A would
Conor
say, that is
McGregor-
the most asinine
no.
thing you've ever said.
Conor McGregor agrees with me. He says we were robbed of that fight.
That's like Cowboy going
Hey,
down. you
Conor
know?
Conor McGregor says the same thing. That fight didn't get the 4th and 5th, and that's where Nate really turns it around, okay? Masvidal didn't really
Please.
He didn't beat Nate Diaz. He's trying and looking like a desperate man trying to get the attention of Conor McGregor wearing a robe cage side, and Conor's like, please get away from me. Masvidal, he beat Ben Askren. He's not going to beat Kamaru Usman. He's going to get beat quite badly by Usman. And you guys are going to eat your words when that happens too. All right? Get ready. Masvidal is good, but he's not Usman. And there's a reason why he's trying to fight Conor and everybody else but Kamaru Usman.
He's going to fight Usman right now.
In fact,
Yeah,
I
he
thought
has to because he's been painted into a corner and the UFC is forcing him to because he's the number 1 contender by default at welterweight right now because Kobe's out and he just lost to Usman. But I'm telling you guys,
Talk
it's
about
not gonna be good.
disrespect. You see, you were telling, Stephen A, you got to respect our fighters. Like, you're lacking respect right now towards Jorge Masvidal.
He's a very good fighter. I just think Usman's going to beat him. I'm giving an opinion. I think Usman is a better
No,
wrestler.
you said you don't like how he acts, things like that.
Yeah, I don't like how he acts.
his
I don't.
bathrobe and all the rest.
I think the gun fingers to Usman was a lame move. I think the robe cage side when you're not even fighting is a lame move.
That was a Versace,
He
man.
came off desperate trying to get Connor's attention. And
Masvidal.
Connor didn't give him any kind of attention. And I think the doctors in New York robbed us of a
come
4th and
on,
5th
Dave.
round.
He's too big for Conor. Everybody knows that. Dana doesn't lie.
Yeah, I think Masvidal would probably beat Connor. But he's not going to beat Kamaru Usman.
Yeah, but
Look,
isn't
I think, I'm not disrespecting Khabib Nurmagomedov, who's one of the greatest fighters in the game, when I say Tony Ferguson's going to beat him in April. I'm just giving you an opinion. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm not saying that Khabib's going to quit in there because, he just doesn't have the guts. I'm not saying anything like that. These guys are world-class athletes. Masvidal is a bad man, okay? He's a tough guy. He's great. He's got one of the greatest knockouts in the history of the UFC with that flying knee on Askren. I just think he doesn't have what it takes to beat Kamaru Usman. I've been wrong before. I could be wrong again, and I'll admit it on the show. It's totally cool. All right? It's fine, but I won't be wrong here. I'm right on this, and I won't be wrong next week when John Jones wins. AJ.
yeah. Listen, man,
Heavyweight champion.
having a with. Listen, man, I'm gonna tell you something.
Something.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Yeah.
Tell
me something, Mike.
First, hold my pigeon. But you know what? Didn't you know that he was a pigeon collector?
Yes. Mike Tyson.
Most people don't know that.
collected
He loves pigeons. Don't mess around
Everybody
with a
knows
pigeon.
that.
Listen, man,
Hold on
don't
a
mess
sec.
with Mike's
Something
pigeon.
doesn't
But,
seem right here.
There's a lot of hate for Masvidal. Dave, you give a lot of hate to the poor guy. And
No,
you know what?
I just think he's been acting real corny lately.
But listen,
what
he's
happened to
he's
him?
bringing another form of excitement to the MMA world.
You called him
other than
corny.
Conor.
That's kind of disrespecting.
Corny.
Yeah, he's
I thought
corny.
you said something else. Okay, sorry.
He is. but I'm disrespecting.
Would you tell that to his face?
Probably not.
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure.
After a
but
couple of drinks,
probably.
maybe.
Yeah.
Couple of proper
look,
12s?
Masvidal, man, you're acting a little bit like you need to. I would counsel him on his gimmick because his gimmick right now, for a while there, it was right in the pocket. It was in the sweet spot and it was really good. But then at a certain point, it just kind of, it's overdone. He's a cartoon
Look,
version.
Oh, you mean a bit like, Conor or a bit
Cejudo.
like...
Connor's toned down now. Are you kidding me?
But I mean,
Look,
that's
but
how it
Masvidal,
works.
I'll tell you what,
That's how you become a star, by
Masvidal-
overdoing it.
Masvidal
True.
with the 3-piece and the biscuit, the Leon Edwards thing, and the super necessary, that was cool. But Masvidal with the Versace and all the gun fingers and all this extra stuff that he's doing, it's a little extra.
Man, he's got the Scarface thing
I like
going.
the
That's what he's
original
got.
Masvidal gimmick, but this new Masvidal, it's it's like a little much. It's like Stephen A. Smith. Like it's over the top, and it's no longer believable, and it doesn't feel authentic anymore.
But
it feels desperate.
his fan base is just rising every as
yeah,
we
well,
speak.
people
It just
are
rolls.
stupid. What do you want?
But you know what? The bottom line is
people
that
are suckers.
But
There's
you
a
know
sucker
what?
born every
Look,
minute.
we said that about like Conor,
Marks.
and Conor is like close to. He says he's going to be a billionaire by the time he hits 35. So he's done something right. And Masvidal wants to listen. He has a vodka out now. Conor has his proper 12, and he has some kind of vodka or rum that he's promoting as well. And the thing is that he knows what he has to do. He's taking Conor's style, and he's becoming the new Conor, where Conor's becoming a choir boy, and Masvidal's becoming the, I don't know, let's think of something.
Well,
Masvidal's the typical fighter that's been making money and spending it. I mean, that's what they do, and people love that. People love the show. That's what sells also. It's part of the gimmick.
But-
it's a gimmick, but it's part,
But you want to
yeah,
have
right.
something
It's
like
a
that.
gimmick. It's a gimmick that I don't like. All right.
But how come you don't get on Henry
it's
Cejudo's
like
back?
the Fiend Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, but
It's a
Cejudo
gimmick
came
I
out
don't
with
like.
a
I
gimmick?
love Bray Wyatt, by the way. I'm a Bray Wyatt fan now.
But Dave, think about
I hope
Cejudo.
I hope he beats Roman Reigns. Sorry, Antoinette.
Not likely.
Antoinette.
Hoo-ah.
Hey,
Antoinette, by the way, shout out to Antoinette. She's on my side. She says she agrees with Dave. She says Nate should have won that. Nate should get a rematch. He got
What?
robbed.
Yeah. kidding me?
Yeah, and I hope Nate beats Conor and just like throws a wrench into this whole like Conor Habib, Conor this,
No,
Conor
no,
that.
no.
How you gonna call yourself the BMF champion and not want a rematch with Nate when the doctor stopped that fight?
Yeah, but he wasn't winning any round, Dave,
You're
up to
gonna
that
win a
point.
fight on a doctor stoppage
Dave.
and walk away calling yourself the BMF?
Oh,
Come
man.
on, son.
Come on, man. Now you're going like the AJ route with like these complete crazy opinions.
What are you talking about?
Come on, man.
Crazy What are you talking
So
about?
I had AJ on my side. I just lost him with a little insult.
Yeah, like seriously. But you
Yeah,
know what?
You were like taking his side, but also throwing a dig at him.
That
at
was
the
a
same
good one.
time.
That was like a good setup. The jab and then the knockout.
It's called a backhanded compliment.
That's okay.
Come
That
on,
was very
everybody
good.
knows Masvidal won that fight.
Of
There's
course.
no exactly. There's nothing controversial about that. Jorge Masvidal.
He was not only winning the fight, he was dominating the
Yeah.
rounds.
Nobody in Stockton, California believes Masvidal won that fight.
Yeah, except
Nobody.
Diaz. That's the only person, but the rest of the world.
No, Diaz and the whole crew and everybody.
That's
Nobody
just because
believes.
it's not a safe place, period, to be in Stockton.
So,
like,
is Miami is.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Listen,
No.
Masvidal was like part of the backyard fighting crew and all that. He's part of that hardcore group. And you know what?
And as far as I'm concerned, he should still be there.
But he's the real BMF, man. He's there. And if anybody wants that title, go after him.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody there right now that
Well,
can get that title.
I'll tell you what, it should be a double championship on the line when he fights Usman. That is the fight. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be the end of this Masvidal hype train, guys. I'm sorry to say it.
I
okay?
don't think so.
You think he's going to be the world champion? He's going to be the welterweight champion.
You know what?
He's
I
gonna
like
beat
this-
Kamaru Usman.
Yep.
Well, I look forward to that because he'll be a fun champion. Okay, if he's a welterweight champion, it'll be big business for the UFC, and we can have a welterweight champion that, hey, maybe George St-Pierre would want to come back and fight, right? So,
yep.
hey, you never know. Masvidal could win. I didn't think he was
Masvidal, St-Pierre in Vegas, we're all going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
And
Dave's
we're-
expense, Ringside Report.
And we're
Can't
bringing our girlfriends, and we're
No,
gonna
man,
we're
we're
gonna
going
get
to Vegas.
we're gonna get married. No, but we're gonna get married in Vegas, so we all make our girlfriends, honorable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
triple
but should
wedding.
we have first? We should have the bachelor party. So the first
Because
time we
after
go-
making babies, you're supposed to
Yeah.
make her honorable.
Yeah, we've all had children out of wedlock. Maybe we should all do a triple marriage.
I wanted to do a Hangover 4, man. Let's go.
triple marriage. Yeah, are we doing it? Triple marriage?
Triple marriage.
I don't think any of our girlfriends will want to get married in Vegas. We might wind up
That's what
marrying
I'm saying.
each other.
There we go, man. Hangover 4 is going to be great. Proper 12. We'll call Connor.
Ringside Report date night for real.
Man, it'll be wild.
My goodness.
What happens in Vegas usually
Stays.
doesn't stay in Vegas.
Stays in
There's too much
Vegas.
TMZ all over the place now.
Unless,
Forget it.
As the great Norm Macdonald says, what happens in Vegas usually stays in Vegas. That's not really true. You can't murder a guy in Vegas
Well, I'm sure it's happened.
and then leave.
Dave, I'm sure it's happened.
Yeah.
I don't know who killed Tupac.
Did you ever see Goodfellas?
Oh, that's true. I guess you could kill Tupac in Vegas and get away with it. What happens in Vegas, Tupac related, stays in Vegas. Although AJ probably thinks Tupac is still alive.
Tupac's still alive, man. I dressed up like him last year. And so is Biggie.
I don't even want details.
Biggie.
Let's just move on.
I hope,
Number 3.
I really hope that when you dress as Tupac, you didn't go full Trudeau.
Didn't you see me?
You know what I mean by full Trudeau?
No, Justin Trudeau. No, I didn't
With
do
the
that,
paint on
man.
the face?
I'm not. Listen, if I want to do that stuff, I'll become prime minister.
Yeah.
ain't
You know,
happening.
if you wore blackface a little bit more, you might be prime minister, AJ.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
It seems like
Only in
blackface-
Canada, they. I don't know.
Blackface leads to great success in this country. Also, if your dad's prime minister, that helps too.
It kind of helps. That's a good point, Dave.
But he looks more like Fidel.
He does.
He looks like the V for Vendetta guy now with that little
I'm telling
beard.
you, look at that side by
noticed
side
that.
of Justin Trudeau and Fidel Castro, man. They look a lot alike.
He
Freddie,
looks like Jordan Peterson. You know that guy? Trudeau looks like him now.
I love Jordan.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
First of all, if
All right,
Trudeau
guys.
is listening and before he sends the RCMP after you guys, I just want to tell him one thing. Legalize jiu-jitsu in Canada, Quebec, all the provinces. We need, well, Ontario, actually, they legalized it. But in Quebec, it's still illegal. So, Trudeau, I know you box. Start doing some jiu-jitsu.
He's scared. He doesn't want any of the real fight. All right, Freddie, we are wrapping up this show.
Already?
Yeah. Before we do, though, Fred,
I mean, that's Justin Trudeau.
What? Let me see.
is that Justin Trudeau?
I'm telling you that.
No, that's Fidel Castro.
I know, but he looks like Justin Trudeau.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he
Let me
does.
see.
They
Let's
look
take a look.
totally
I'll tell you.
different. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, my God, he's right.
They don't look as... They look
God.
totally different.
Jesus, you're right. I never thought of that.
Okay, Fred, I thought...
Coast to coast.
I thought you were going to talk about the GoFundMe.
Conspiracy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay, let's get serious here for a moment, AJ. Fred's going to talk about a very worthy cause that we should all donate to.
Yeah, last week we mentioned a jiu-jitsu coach of mine, friend of mine, passed away a little bit more than a week ago. So there's a GoFundMe for money to be raised for his children. So if you go on my Twitter at FreddyMMA, you will see a link for it. We're going to tweet it again. Unfortunately, very sad story. 2 young kids and a little support for them. That would be great. Thank you to everybody. A lot of people already donated, and it's very appreciated. Thank you very much.
Go to the page right now. It's a GoFundMe, and you could get the link on Freddie's Twitter. I retweeted it as well, at Freddie MMA, at Dave Simon MMA. Go donate to this, a very worthy cause, very sad. A Montreal Jiu-Jitsu guy passing away way too early with a young family. So go donate to that GoFundMe at Freddie MMA to get the link, and you can go do that right now. So I recommend that you do that. You could also go to ringsidereport.net for everything that we do. We've got MMA, we've got pro wrestling, we've got everything in between. Over at www.ringsidereport.net, you can watch this show on YouTube. You can like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and that way you can see everything we do. You get the notifications when you click the bell. We're going to be on next week for everything. Of course, Wrestling Uncensored coming up this weekend. We're going to give you our top 5 matches that Edge has to have now that he's back in pro wrestling. Edge with serious neck issues, had to retire 9 years ago, just came back in the Royal Rumble. 46 years of age, he is back, signing a new 3-year deal with the WWE. So we'll tell you about some matches that Edge must have this week coming up on Wrestling Uncensored. Some big news about the WWE corporate structure on Dave and Johnny Live. And then next week we'll preview on Ringside Report the John Jones, Dominic Reyes, UFC 247 big pay-per-view, and we will be on live during the pay-per-view for the date night watch-along coming up next Saturday, UFC 247 on February the 8th. Until then, follow Freddie at Freddie MMA, follow me at Dave Simon MMA, and you could follow AJ on Twitter and Instagram at Dan E. Bruck. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Marco back on the radio side for helping us out. For Freddie and AJ, I'm Dave, and this has been Ringside Report.
Go Chiefs!
Oh.